Okay, so you mentioned your family, and you've got a very small one. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, 6 kids. Yeah, I was reading some of the questions you had for us, and I'm like, what's the biggest adventure? It's probably my family. It's like who decides to have 6 kids? But we got 4 beautiful girls. They were our first 4, and then my two knucklehead boys.
Was that a product of just keep trying for a boy?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm I'm a fighter.
So if you had a boy and a girl right out of the gate, you'd
We'd have been
two.
done. I would have been out. We would have been out. We would have been done.
We're back for another Loan Officer Spotlight, and usually this guy and I are hanging out at a bar in Annapolis, Maryland. We have a slightly better view, I would say, although those aren't bad either when you guys take me out to downtown. Jamison Mullen.
It's not quite this, Jeff. Good to see you, buddy. Not quite this, but this is Annapolis is a fun place. We have a good time there.
Yes, yes we do. Yes, we do.
We've had a few good nights and taking you around to some pretty cool spots.
Good nights that led to groggy mornings.
Yes,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah.
Some long flights home, right?
That's probably the best thing to do because I can take a nap.
Exactly.
So I mentioned, obviously, you are based out of Annapolis, Maryland, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and kind of what you do in the business.
Yeah, so born and raised in Annapolis. Kind of grew up in the Lacrosse community around Annapolis, which is pretty big, community there. Families from Annapolis. Meaning mom, dad, both are, Annapolitans. So we're kind of...
Annapolitans.
That's
a word.
Yeah,
okay,
it is. It is.
I learned something.
Yeah, you like that, right? So they born and raised in Annapolis, St. Mary's High School, downtown Annapolis. Met my wife there. So we're pretty entrenched in the community of Annapolis.
Yeah.
Catholic family, but, I wouldn't say super religious or anything, but we're just, Catholic family, so we've kind of entrenched in the St. Mary's community and have our kids there, and my wife teaches there, so it's a fun crew.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
You mentioned lacrosse. That's a big part of your life, right?
Huge part of my life, yeah. Played college lacrosse, played some professional lacrosse. My wife was a college lacrosse player, dad was, brother was. So, yeah.
Wow.
All my kids play.
All your kids play.
Yeah, I got one getting ready to go to college now to play lacrosse.
That's amazing.
So,
Where'd you go to college and play?
University of Virginia in Charlottesville.
So, you won?
Yeah, good team. We won a national championship. It was fun.
No shit.
Yeah.
Holy cow, what a cool fun fact.
It is, but then I get the, your wife won 4. My wife won.
No,
She
really?
went to Maryland.
Oh,
she won 4 championships in Maryland, so it's like, nothing. She's always topping me.
That's a rival school,
too.
Oh,
yeah, big
man,
time.
That's fun.
Big time. Yeah, my dad went there. He played lacrosse. He won 2 championships in the 70s. So the Maryland connection at home is, my brother and I get beat up a little bit. He went to Virginia with me. He won 1, so we have 2. And between those 2, the Maryland crew, they have 6.
Now, are you a Terp fan or are you a Virginia fan?
I mean, I got to be a Virginia fan. I grew up a Maryland basketball fan, big time.
Yep.
So my dad used to take me to the Gary Williams games all the time, like when Gary was coaching.
National championship somewhere in there, right?
Oh yeah, with I actually went to that. I was living in Charleston at the time, right after college, and had some friends going to the game. I'm like, I'm going. For 15 years, after Lenny Bias, when he passed away, the program really went into a funk, and I kind of grew up with Gary building it, and it was a culmination. It was pretty cool. But we enjoyed the Virginia basketball championship a few years back just as much.
Also true. So, also true. Okay, so you mentioned your family, and you've got a very small one. Tell us about your family.
6 kids. I was reading some of the questions you had for us, and I'm like, what's the biggest adventure? It's probably my family. It's like who decides to have 6 kids? But we got 4 beautiful girls. They were our first 4, and then my two knucklehead boys.
Was that a product of just keep trying for a boy?
A little bit. Yeah. I'm I'm a fighter.
So if you had a boy and a girl right out of the gate, you'd
have been done. I would have been out. We would have been out. It would have been done. No, we always knew we wanted a big family. We were both kind of from big families, and Tara's she's a mother. That's what she loves to be, loves to do, and we just kind of, it was. I don't want to say it came easy to us, because I hate to say that for folks that have struggled. We have plenty of family friends and friends that have struggled with it. We just got lucky. We were blessed with it, and it came. They were almost like rubber stamp 2 years apart, type thing. So
That's amazing.
it's
That's
fun.
amazing. I won't ask any more questions about that for the sake of keeping this on color.
Yes.
So let's shift over, because obviously I know you, and I know that you kind of wear two hats in the mortgage industry. So you still originate, but you're also a leader. Where do you want to start there? Let me start it. You're originator first. You're always an originator first. So you're still producing business. What would you say is kind of your MO?
I do a lot of new construction business. I got into new construction about 10 years ago, kind of because I was scared. I went through 2008. Remember how nasty it was, and how basically everybody had to reinvent themselves. So obviously work with a ton of realtors, but then I started to kind of search around for some good builders, and the builders they really took it on the chin in 2008, and a lot of them were basically kind of starting from scratch again. And through a couple of my hobbies, golf, lacrosse, started meeting guys, and just kind of slowly started building my new construction business. I'd say it's a good 50% of my business now.
New
construction, yep. But I mean, as far as like an MO, I mean, I'm very hands-on with the files, meaning I'm diving in and fixing problems when they come up, and keeping my people throughout the process. If anything comes up, I am keeping everybody informed and making sure everybody understands what's going on. So it's kind of an all on hands deck approach. I don't want the agents or the builder or the customer or anybody really to know that. I don't want them not knowing what's going on. If there's an issue that everybody can help with, let's get it done. So I think the lines of communication that we keep with everybody is kind of what's helped me build my business.
Yeah. Well, it's critical.
Yeah.
So as it relates to new construction, what are your connections? Like what got you going in that arena?
Well, golf was a big one, because I played golf with some guys that were in the business, and never really panned out everybody had their own mortgage company in 2005. All the builders they had their own little broker shop or their own, little correspondent or something. And in 2008, when all that went down, when everything basically collapsed, guys were just, stuff was being bankrupt, builders were going out of business, credit lines are being closed, all that. So then, fast forward to 2010, 11, you start getting some builders starting to get going again. They're starting to find some lots. But the last thing they want to deal with is the new compliance rules in mortgage. So a good friend of mine that I play a lot of golf with was like, hey man, you got to come over and, talk to our guys. We got a new young sales guy. He came from like NV Homes, one of the big builders. And he's, similar to me. He was a young guy, young family, enjoyed some of the same things. And we just hit it off, and kind of sky's the limit. I think I got a tough deal for them done at the end of the year one year, and kind of cemented myself with them because of that. And sometimes that's all it takes. You know, the door opens and you get a deal done and
bust through.
Yeah, just go.
Yeah. Do you work with a lot of real estate agents?
I do, a good amount. I work with some really top end real estate agents. I wouldn't say I'm on the phone on Monday calling every agent in my Rolodex saying, hey, you got any deals coming this week or anything like that. The Annapolis agents are very, I want to say high end. They know what they're doing. There's not a lot of young ones in the business right now. So most of the agents I'm working with aren't calling me on Tuesday night looking for, answers to questions. They know what they're doing. They're solidified. If they have a customer that calls me, they know that I'm going to get on them quick, but it's not going to be, they're on me all the time type agents. So those are the ones that I prefer to work with. Obviously, everybody wants to work with those types of agents. We'll work with any of them. I love a good young agent that wants to learn from me. Yeah. There's just not that many right now. Sure. They're just not. I'd love to have more of them get out there.
Yeah, but I think it's only a matter of time.
I agree. I mean, they have to, because and a lot of them are doing, the ones that are embracing the social media for sure, the ones that are on every day, keeping their face out, in public, keeping their name on the tip of tongues are the ones that when there's more inventory, they're going to crush it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just all the shifts in the industry, I think a lot of the gray hairs are not liking these changes that are happening. And now that this big change happening, we're doing this interview in August. there's big changes, and a lot of agents are not prepared.
No.
Nor does anyone really like change.
Nope.
So it'll be interesting. So,
well, they don't. I think a lot of them are scared of having the tough conversations up front with their customer. But the good agents, the ones that I've talked to,
it's not an
they've
issue.
already been doing it.
Yeah.
So for any young agents, I would tell them, look, embrace. First of all, the tough conversation, but also embrace some of the older agents that know what they're doing. Learn how their conversations are going, and work with them. To learn from them, because I think if you can do that, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be, like you said, probably a massive drop off in the amount of agents in the business, and the ones that can make it through it and have those conversations are they're gonna thrive.
Definitely going to be a shift. Now, you've been around the business. How long have you been in the business?
20 years, 21 years.
20 years.
So I think 2003, June of 03. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you probably had some stories. Do you have one that comes to mind that you would say is either the craziest story or maybe the most memorable story of success with a client?
Craziest story. I was just thinking about this morning. 2007, I believe, was the summer of 2007. I was getting ready on a charity golf tournament, and I think I just had my second kid. Sitting there with actually another loan officer, we're talking about what's going on, and
this is right early crash.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm getting to. So, I'm working for a company at the time that was a bit of a subsidiary of Aurora and Lehman Brothers, and kind of a offshoot of that. They sold a ton to Lehman Brothers. Well, I look at my phone, and back then it was a BlackBerry. So I'm looking at my BlackBerry. I think it was like a 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. email, because it was like an 8 a.m. tee off or something. I don't know why it was so early, but anyway, I'm looking at it. I'm talking to my buddy. Same thing. We're just having a conversation like this. And good morning. We want everybody to know we're no longer funding loans. This is the company I'm working for.
Oh my God.
We ceased to fund loans as of today. Come to find out, they'd had meetings with Lehman Brothers the day before, who basically provided their credit lines and then also bought a lot of the Alt-A, we call them Alt-A back then, Alt-A loans off off their lines, and they basically cut off both. So these guys were holding, $200 million. I mean, it's still a big number, but $102 million that they couldn't sell, had nothing to do. So they basically stopped funding, and come to find out, they started moving money, and there was some shenanigans going on. The company basically went bankrupt that day. But it was crazy. I mean, I can't. It as tough as the last couple years have been, I still don't think I can. It doesn't compare to when you're sitting there as at your desk in 2007 and 8. And I don't even remember this, the implodometer or whatever. There's that implodometer, and you were seeing companies literally going out of business on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And it was it was up to 200, by 2008.
It's almost deja vu the last couple of years. A little bit different, but similar.
Sure.
A lot of companies going out of business.
Yeah, and it was back then. It was like it just, there were so many bad loans being written. Now it's just it seems like just kind of a little bit of a cleansing. But back then it was like there was loans going bad. People couldn't buy people couldn't sell them anymore. They had nothing to do. They're like, shoot, we can't. There was people making it to the settlement table, and no funds would show up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. Think about that. It's crazy, right? Like nobody that came after 2008, any of the loan officers you talk to, they've never had that happen, right?
Yeah.
They can't fathom that. But you get to a settlement table and signing paperwork, and title company comes in, hey, we don't have any money.
Yeah.
The money never comes.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that was happening. It was nuts.
That is nuts, man. That is nuts.
So, I mean, as far as like victories though, like I remember some stuff early on, 2010, 11, 12. Tougher deals back then. Like it was, the compliance stuff was, everything was new. You're getting tax returns on everybody. You were getting, basically everything you could on folks.
Yeah.
And I had a couple jumbo deals that I just remember, and I was green with doing jumbo, and getting a couple of those done with your Wells Fargos or some of these other banks that were doing them, and guidelines that you can't believe you missed and all that stuff. So there was a couple of those back then. It really kind of taught me you better know what you're doing. If you're gonna sell some of these loans, you better be sharp with your guidelines and know exactly, because there's stuff buried in different spots that you have no idea.
Yeah.
It's actually gotten easier, quite honestly. It was from those 2010 to 13 years, it was just really, really tough.
Yeah. What would be a good piece of advice that you would give to somebody who, knowing that you are somebody who specializes in new construction, what would be some piece of advice that you would have to a potential buyer, whether they're a first-time buyer or an existing buyer, is what they can kind of expect when buying new construction?
So usually what we try to do is we'll get them a full pre-approval. When I say pre-approval, like it's going through underwriting, a loan commitment. We're going to do that in the first 45 days. A lot of times, and I did this early on with my builders, I basically wanted them to know that if they were building a house, that we had an underwriter looking at it before they started that house. Now, there's times when things happen faster and we don't get it done, but we're trying to get everything we can from them so that they can enjoy the process. After we give them a loan commitment, they can enjoy that build, right? So I've tried to mesh my process with the new construction process in the sense that when they're doing the fun stuff with the build, they're done with us, right? And then when it gets towards the end, obviously they got to update some documents and things like that. But that's it. We want them to feel like we're just kind of in the shadow there, just making sure that everything's going well, and they know that we've got it taken care of. And so when they're building that house, like, and they're doing their selections and doing all the fun stuff, they're not thinking about, am I going to get a loan? Now, does it happen at times where we've got to do some tinkering with the loan? Of course. Like, there's plenty of customers, we've gotten very good at this, on saying, all right, well, they don't quite qualify right now, but if we do this, this, and this, we'll get them there. And if the builder is okay with that, and we're transparent with everybody up front, the builder can prepare, okay, maybe this won't work, but they know that you can kind of tell if a customer is motivated to get it done, right? They're going to do everything they possibly can. This is their dream home. This is where they're going to be the next 10, 15 years. And so they're going to do everything they can possible to make it work. That's kind of been my MO. Like, I will take on some deals that I don't, that we couldn't close them in the next 30 days. That said, if they do this, this, and this, and they follow our steps, they will get it done.
You're going to be patient with them.
Exactly. And we're not going to judge any. Like, I do get folks that are a little bit, and I'm sure we all do in the business, that I'm a little bit embarrassed by a credit blip or some things that have happened in the past, and it's like, we don't look. We've seen it all. We don't want to dwell on what's happened in the past. We just want to give you, if you're committed to doing what we say to do or what we advise you to do, then we're going to be there every step of the way. And so, I don't have any specific, victories that I just pop out, because there's actually so many of them where people do what we want to do, and then at the end they are, raving reviews. They're customers for life for us, because they know that we were there fighting with them and working through this. And it's a good feeling. It really is. And there's a lot of folks. I do a lot of, being in the DC area, the Annapolis area, you get a lot of military veterans, a lot of 100% disabled vets, and folks that have put their time in to fight for us. It's like, well, why wouldn't we fight for them? You know what I mean? We're going to fight and do tooth and nail and do everything we can to get them the home that they want.
That's pretty awesome. They fought for us. We're going to fight for them. It's a good one. Last question: do you have any form of kind of a motto or kind of words to live by?
I'd say work hard, play hard, for sure. I mean, look, we bust our butts in this business to make money and so we can play hard, right? And and enjoy it. I see a lot of folks that haven't figured out the play hard piece yet, and I don't mean you're out at a bar every day. I just mean enjoy your money, enjoy making the money, enjoy your family, enjoy the kids, because it goes quick. I mean, I got one going. Make memories. I got kids. One going to college. I'm like, and it flew by. Like, I can't believe it already. And the other thing is, do what you say you're going to do. It seems simple, but I tell my young LOs, or even my young agents I talk to, and do what you say you're going to do. I had a mentor, in the last 10 years, he used to say, answer your phone, do what you say you're going to do. He's like, that's 90% of the business. But doing what you say you're going to do is, if you say you're going to call somebody back at 3 o'clock, even if you got bad news or no news, you call them back. It's little things like that matter, and it kind of entrusts you to your referral partners, entrusts you to your clients, everybody, because they know that you're there. You're not hide. You're not, if you got to make a tough phone call, you make it. But do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Usually just cell phone, text call.
What's the number?
443-852-0519.
Awesome. I look forward to the next time I get to come back and hang out in Annapolis. Although I'll take
Can't
this.
wait, buddy.
I'll take this setting every time.
Well, I'll have to take Sohan's boat out, man. That'll be like he's got some good spots he can take us. So you'll enjoy.
This is on camera, so now it has to happen.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thanks, brother.